Hey everybody, Jessica Morrison here, realtor with Ferris Property Group in Indianapolis, Indiana. Today we have Laura Keller with Beazer Homes here. She's going to tell us all about her fabulous community. Welcome, Laura.
Thank you, Jessica. Nice to be here.
Excellent. So which community are we going to focus on today?
We are going to focus on Miller's Walk, which is in Noblesville, Indiana. It is located off of Pleasant Street and 37. We're a duet community, and we offer, there's 166 lots, and we've sold 33. We offer two plans, the Tuscany and the Valencia, and we start at 263.
Okay.
That's, yeah.
Now, what is I think you said duet.
Yeah, duet. So it's a fancier term than duplex. Well, there's also paired villas, but we call them duets. So there's two homes connected. There is a firewall in between, and they're 12 inches thick. So we've tested it for sound, and it's very, very difficult to hear anything on the other side. And most of the people that I've talked to in the neighborhood have said they don't hear anything. So or actually all of them say that. So we're very confident that people will enjoy the living experience here.
Sure. So for those who are looking at maybe more of a low maintenance lifestyle, this could be a really good fit for them. Um, are your duet floor plans something that is a single level only, or do you offer lofts or basements with those?
So we have, like I said, we have two plans. The Valencia is one story. It has two bathrooms, two full bathrooms, and two bedrooms. The master is in the back, and there's a second bedroom in the front of the home. There is an option to add a fireplace and a morning room or a covered porch on that plan. And then the second plan that we have is called the Tuscany, and it is very similar to the layout of the Valencia, but it has an upstairs with a loft and a bedroom, and then you can add a third full bath. It's a great space actually for guests. I even had a guy come in yesterday that wants us to just not have any bathroom or bedroom up there. He just wants to use it as his personal training room for his clients. So there's some other options for using that upstairs space.
Sure. Now, have you seen, I mean, every community is going to draw a different type of audience. Have you seen many people come into this community who need to work from home, or who's been your kind of average target consumer?
Yeah, so the demographic, we don't have any age restrictions here, but the HOA, we don't have like a pool or a clubhouse. We have a common area for outside that's got, a trellis with swings. So mainly and a patio with a fire pit, but mainly we're looking at people that are 40 and up. We have a lot of single people. We've got people who have two homes, they want one here and they want one in Florida. Um, and the low maintenance part of it, where the HOA, they do your lawn mowing, they put your mulch in the spring, weed control, fertilizer, all of that is very attractive, and it's only $80 a month. That also includes snow plowing and all the common areas. So
I mean, I'm trying to do the math. I wish I did more. Like my husband takes more care of like the financial stuff in our family, and I'm trying to do the math on what mulch costs and
yeah,
mowing. Like it makes a lot of sense, especially when you're talking snow removal.
okay.
And
On
that is,
their driveways, sidewalk up to the house, and even to the front door if there's snow on the front porch. So
yeah. I mean, if you're thinking of possibly purchasing a second home in another market too, for those watching, I do have relationships with agents all across the country and even the world where I've shaken hands with these people and they're top realtors in their markets. And I've done several webinars already kind of helping you guys get connected with those markets. But if you do live in Indianapolis and you are thinking of downsizing for the purpose of looking at investment properties, products like this housing wise could be a really good fit for you because the exterior maintenance is something that's included and it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg where compared to some other HOA communities. So Laura, how you said you've got 33 out of the 166 that have been purchased?
So,
Is that
yeah, and we've been here for just over a year, but I want to back up and clarify something about the HOA. We do lawn maintenance and snow removal in all the common areas, but the HOA does not include the exterior maintenance of the home. But the good news is we put on James Hardy plank Color Plus fiber cement siding, which has a 15-year warranty. Plus, we have the CertainTeed roofs that are three-dimensional, which have a lifetime limited warranty on them. So we didn't feel like with those products on the house that exterior maintenance made a lot of sense because they won't need anything for 15 to 20, 30 years or beyond. So,
okay? And so to clarify, if the roof were to have some missing shingles, because Indiana is well known for its ability to have good winds and rainstorms, that would be on the homeowner to rectify, correct?
no, the shingles would be replaced. Beazer does a 4-year warranty on the roofs themselves, and then the manufacturer has a lifetime limited warranty. So if there's high winds and the shingles blow off, obviously it's going to be prorated as the years go on. The proration will be less and less, but initially for probably the first 10 or 15 years, the coverage should be significant.
Okay, interesting. So is that for Beazer in general or just this community?
That is for Beazer in general. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yep.
So let's talk a bit more about Miller's Walk. This community you said does not have a pool or clubhouse. Are there any other amenities? Like 2/3 of American households have pets. Is this something that would be considered pet friendly?
Oh, yeah. I mean, people can have pets at Miller's Walk. The only restriction is on physical fences. You can't have a physical fence because it would be very difficult for the lawnmower to get in and out of all the fences, but you can have an invisible fence. There are sidewalks. People are out walking their dogs. And then there's parks nearby, dog parks to take them so they can play with other dogs.
Sure. So what would you say is your favorite thing about this community?
Um, it kind of goes along with what are my favorite things about Beazer. I just feel like the elevations of these, the outside look of these homes is very rich. They look very nice on the outside compared to some of the other duets or paired villas that I've seen. I think ours are the most attractive. We have several different siding colors to choose from. So the homes look different. So there's like 2 plans, but each plan has 3 different elevations. So there's a good mix of colors and designs in the community. That and just the overall quality of the products that we put into the home, and the fact that we're an Energy Star certified builder. We have to build the homes to Energy Star standards. And that just means a better built home, a more comfortable home, and considerable savings on the gas and electric and water bills.
Interesting. So do you happen to know the metrics of what makes a home energy certified, what versus what does not, or how you guys can say that you're energy certified compared to other builders in the area who do not have that designation?
Yeah, so there's certain products that we have to use. The water heater has to be Energy Star certified. The dishwasher has to be Energy Star certified. We have to use Tyvek wrap, and it has to wrap inside the windows, around the outlets. There's a ladder system in construction that we have to use in certain parts of the home. There's a certain width between the 2x4 or 2x6 boards to allow for more insulation and less wood. If you have too much wood, that is a conductor, so it takes away from the warmth or the coolness of the home. Just the fact that we have a third party come in and do a blower test to make sure that the home is tight enough, that it isn't leaking a bunch of air or getting air in that shouldn't be coming in. With that being said, we do have a fresh air system blowing fresh air into the home, so the air will never be stale. So those are some of the things that we do. And then at the end, after closing, we give everybody Energy Star certificate that shows their savings in their home and all the different components.
Now, when did you guys start implementing that? Do you happen to know what year Beazer became a quote Energy Star certified builder?
I know it's been over 10 years, but I couldn't tell you exactly when.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Now, with this community, I was really curious to find out, because I think when a client comes in and they're interested in building, it can create an interesting question of, these are paired patio homes. So naturally, if I'm interested in building a property, do you guys only build homes where you can build both sides simultaneously, or what's the process around that?
So if somebody comes in and they want to start a building, so they're buying the first half, we tell them that we're going to try to sell the other half fairly quickly within the next week or two. And then if we can't, then a decision will be made as to whether or not we want to spec out or just start the other side and sell it, at sometime during the construction. So it depends on how many homes that we only have the first half sold, whether or not we're going to spec out someone for somebody. If we have 4 that we only have the first half sold, then we're probably going to need to sell one of the second halves of those 4 buildings before we can start their building. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
So let's dive in a bit about the building process with Beazer. What can clients expect in an overview? And let's say that someone's watching this interview, they've never built with Beazer. What would their next step look like if they were interested in learning more about this community?
So we would start out with setting up an appointment. We are still by appointment only right now. And then they could come in and tour the models. If they have time and they want to, we can price them out, look at the lots, walk the lots. If they decide to purchase, then we do a contract on Beazer paperwork, and they put 5% down total, and we can spread that out with payments. At contract, they put 5,000 down, and then the balance of the 5% is either due after their design appointment, or like I said, we can spread it out in payments. And then once they go to their design appointment, then after that, we file for permit, or we may have already before their design appointment, because the structural options are all they really need for the permit. But then they meet with the builder pre-construction, then they meet with the builder again pre-drywall, and then towards the end, right before they close, for their new home orientation. And every Monday we call our clients and give them an update on their home. Gives them a chance to answer or ask questions, voice concerns. And then right after the meeting, between 1 and 2, we send an email out recapping everything that we had just discussed, so they have a record of what happened during the process of their home.
That makes a lot of sense, and you make it sound so simple and so easy.
We try to make it smooth, because a lot of people don't enjoy the idea of building a house, because they know that it can be stressful, but we try to make it as low stress as humanly possible, because it's just better for everybody that way.
Now, what's your time to build? I mean, most builders pre-COVID were 4 to 6 months out. From the time of signing a contract to closing on the home, what's your month time frame?
If they were to start a brand new building, I would say right now we would have it done by the end of this year. If they were to purchase the second half of a building, it would probably be done in anywhere between August and October. It just depends on which site that they would choose. We have some foundations in. We've got one spec home that is more than halfway done, so that one should be ready at the beginning of June.
Okay. Yeah. And for those, I know what you mean, because I speak or like housing inventory.
Yes.
But for those watching, she doesn't mean you're only getting half of a home. It means that they're
Right. Thank
farther
you.
down in the build process to where that timeline has been expedited. So it's a very common sense thing. I just thought it was funny how you
Oh
did it.
yeah, I did make it sound like that, didn't I? That's
It's all
funny.
good.
Thank you.
So speaking of spec homes, a lot of builders have chosen to proactively build new homes because there is a huge inventory shortage right now. Has
Yeah.
Beazer chosen to proactively, I mean, it sounds like that's the case, but to the extent that you've already gone ahead and built out a significant portion of your current section, or are there still lots available where someone could come in and customize a home?
Oh yeah, absolutely. In the first section, we probably have 50 home sites left, and there are 6 specs maybe that are going to be built. So that leaves quite a few open for starting from scratch and designing it the way you want it.
And one thing that we haven't talked yet about, Laura, that is the $1 million question is what is your current budget or price range?
So for the 1 story, you can definitely get into that one for under 300. So I would say anywhere, like once you put in everything, the structural options, design options, the lot premium, anywhere from 275 to 350, depending on the plan, the lot, and the design and structural options.
Which is fascinating to me because I mean, I remember, and it also is 100% tied to your location. If you're going to be within 1 to 2 miles of like the Hamilton Town Center or downtown Fishers, like you're paying for that premium location. But it is fascinating to hear just how much over the course of just the last 2 years, new construction prices and home prices in general have risen. So
Yeah.
if those watching your eyeballs just got a little bit big, it's because of a lot of things that are playing into the construction industry as a whole due to the COVID disruptions with supply chain. So have you guys seen some significant price increases specifically due to COVID?
Yes, we have. But we always have promotions. So, like you said, um, it's good not to to be afraid of the pricing when you hear it, because the promotions can definitely help. But yeah, the lumber prices, and somebody just said something else, cement, um, windows, all of those things have kind of gone up significantly, which I mean, and it's just a supply and demand thing. The demand for these products is huge right now because the inventory is so low that the builders need the product so we can have houses out there for people.
Yes, my dad is a um, salesman for Lee Supply, and it's
Ah,
um, I get to hear with a more like bird's eye view or ear to the ground type thing where um, they're having trouble because they supply to builders and
mhm.
all different types of industries within construction that they can't get water heaters, or you have to order so many in advance, and then windows are another big one. So basically, guys, if you're wanting to build and you can get in, um, do so ASAP, because a lot of those costs are going to be, as homes continue to sell, they're going to continue to appreciate, which justifies in general higher asking prices. But as there's continuing to be a delay with things, the demand is going to cause prices to continue to go up. So between that and then interest rates possibly creeping up this summer, get in while you can.
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
so Laura, what made you as a sales representative choose Beazer Homes, and what do you think are some things that you as a builder do really well compared to others in the local market?
I just think that the products that we use, a lot of people that come through our homes think that the quality really stands out in our homes compared to other builders, just like the thickness of the countertops, the thickness of the railings that go up the stairs. They can tell that, we just build a better house. Um, that and the fact that we're Energy Star certified, a lot of builders say they're energy efficient, but being Energy Star certified is completely different. It has to do, like I said, with the construction of the home, the products that we put into it, and the savings that people will see in their monthly utility bills. Um, that and just the process of going through building a home with Beazer. Um, and we just really take care of people. Our guild quality surveys, especially with my builder, I have a preference to Scott Cheney, who has been with the company for 25 years. He's OCD and he gets things done right. And we do really well with our surveys. People are really pleased. So I'm just proud of that. And I chose Beazer because I I knew they'd been around for a really long time. I had a friend who built a Beazer house and I went into it and I thought it was amazing. And so I just felt like it was a good fit for me. I can sell something that I can get behind and feel good about, but I can't sell something that I don't feel good about.
Yes, I am a firm believer that even though my role as a realtor is to be a salesperson,
Mhm.
that it's honestly one of the last things on my list when I think about my job. Because I believe like I'm just here to help people and to advise where people have questions accordingly. But ultimately, if it's a good house or any good product, it will sell itself. Like I would much rather say, hey, I don't know if you saw this, but it looks like there's a water stain on the ceiling. That might be something that we'll want to talk about in the inspection phase. But, overall, if you're going to build a good product, whether it's a car or a house or something else, the product should sell itself and it should speak volumes in its own quality, integrity, and brand and reputation. So, how long have you had past clients come through and give kind of like a testimonial about their experience?
Oh yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with Trust Builder, but if you Google Trust Builder, I think a different website comes up, but it has a Trust Builder symbol by it. That really, if you type in Indianapolis, you'll see that we typically get 4 or 5 stars out of 5. And then people have come back and talked to me and told me how pleased they are with their homes. They bring me gifts. So I don't, I can't sleep very well at night if I don't have a happy customer or something's going on. So we're probably the same that way. You just want to make sure they're happy, and there's problems that are always going to come up eventually, so you just take care of them even after they've closed. I try to direct them and help them out. So
Yeah, because building is never without any type of problem or setback.
right. Most of them are very small, no major issues that I've seen since I've been here. So
Sure. So let's say, unfortunately, maybe someone has built a Beazer home and they need to get in touch with Beazer because maybe there is um, a warranty or something that's out of place. And um, what would be their next step to get connected with the warranty department to maybe resolve that issue?
So right after somebody signs a contract with us, we give them a really nice binder, which I can show you what that looks like. It's not the right one, sorry. Hold on just a second. So it looks like this, and inside of it, it has all of the warranty information. It even has a sticker or a magnet that they can put on their refrigerator. Looks like this. And so they put that on the refrigerator and they call the customer care department. And the guys that are in our customer care department are local and they are assigned to specific communities. So they typically respond within a couple hours. And if it's an emergency, they respond faster than that. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy to get stuff done if you have an issue.
Okay. Um, Slightly random question,
Uh-huh.
but investors right now are finding it to be a challenge to find investment properties. Is this a community that does not have any rental restrictions, or if someone wants to build here, do they have to be owner occupant?
We don't have restrictions, but once investors come in and they find out honestly what our homes cost compared to other builders, they don't want to buy here. So that pretty much keeps them out. And we do have a restriction, like on if somebody did want to come in and buy one and maybe rent the other side out, that would probably be okay. We haven't had that happen yet, but we wouldn't let somebody come in and just buy like 10 of them. Like some builders I know are allowing that right now. But yeah,
Yep.
we want our communities to stay, you know, owner occupied as much as possible, and we want them to stay beautiful, and so people will feel like their value of their home continues to grow.
Sure. Yep. We will have an unnamed subdivision on the south side who, unfortunately, the builder allowed a property management company to come in and they bought up a whole section or something
Wow.
of lots. So unfortunately, that inventory disappeared. Good news for the south side, they're going to have some upcoming rentals down the road, but
Mhm.
it's something that from a town perspective is good for city officials to think about and keep in mind, and for builders to certainly put in the covenants if this community is intended to be owner occupied, that there's something in the HOA that stipulates that. Okay, so we've talked a bit about the community and the builder. What would you say are some good tips for buyers to consider when they're building a new home for the first time?
Uh, well, I think that it's a good idea to not go it alone. I think that people should probably work with a realtor, especially if this is their first time or they're just more comfortable with having somebody next to them to guide them. I would say that, and then I would say do your research. Talk to people in the community. If you're driving around, if somebody's outside, ask them, how they feel about their home. Um, and then just make sure that you when you go into a model home, that you can see yourself living there. Think about your furniture, the placement of your furniture, that kind of thing, and make sure that it feels right for you.
Do you think it's wise that a client who's considering building with um, one builder or community that they talk to different communities or different builders to get a different feel? Or do you think that um, if they find a lot in community that they love, that they should jump on it because of how fast the market is moving?
Yeah, like in our community, we have some tree lined lots that are still available, but I'm feeling in the next few months that they'll go quickly. So I think that it's so different now than when, I was really young, like 30 years ago. You couldn't look on the internet, you couldn't really do any research. But now you can. So if you can narrow it down to one or two builders that you want to look at, you'll save yourself a lot of time. And then, yeah, I mean, it's not just about, obviously, you want a quality built home, but it's also about the process because you want to make sure that you're being taken care of and that you're not a number. So, find out how the process is going to work and how they're going to treat you and if they're going to update you every week. And I would also suggest looking at the interest rates and seeing if you can get a longer lock because interest rates are still low. There's a lot of stuff, but yeah, I mean, you should probably check out a couple builders and just compare um, to make sure that, one or the other is right for you.
Do you see, with inventory being the way that it is, there being any flexibility or room for negotiating? Like, say that a client has picked out one or two different communities and they're pricing out both. Again, assuming that that timeline is even affordable right now, not in terms of money, but just time right now, sometimes just is such a luxury for certain communities, that once a section's opened, different market, but there was a realtor who shared that there was a builder who opened up 70 new lots and they were all sold out within like 24, 48 hours, which is just crazy. But it is
You're in
just
Indianapolis?
no, it was a different market, but it's
Oh,
just a reflection of how real estate as a whole right now, like we are seeing a lot of expediency, and it just depends again on where, like Noblesville might move differently than Carmel, but you as a consumer need to be aware of, um, again, the pace of things so that you can, act accordingly. And then once you find something, be ready to put money down. But for the context of this conversation, are you seeing any flexibility with builders on pricing? I mean, you mentioned that Beazer does have promotions. What do those promotions look like?
Well, it's different for every community. For our community, it's 5,000 off at the design studio, or $5,000 worth of free options, and then 5,000 off the lot premium. That being said, I mean, people can make an offer and we'll see if we can get it through. So there is flexibility.
Well, that's good to hear, because
Yeah.
buyers right now, I mean, I've been telling buyers, if you are going to be waiving the appraisal and doing an as-is inspection and the house is super old, definitely give new construction some consideration, especially if you're in a multiple offer situation, just because, again, like, this is a big investment. We want this house to be a blessing to you after closing. We're not looking at the movie Money Pit for
Right.
your experience after closing. We want this to be something that's enjoyable for you and your family. And
Yeah.
so definitely give new construction some consideration, but just know too, there is a reason why more buyers do tend to gravitate to pre-existing, and that's because it's going to be a cheaper cost per square foot. But the trade-off again is brand new versus you might have some work to do after closing. Laura, are there any other suggestions for buyers when they're building a new home to take into consideration, or have you seen many come through who want to partner with a realtor?
Honestly, if they don't already have a realtor, they I always ask people, how'd you hear about us? There's a place on the registration card. Some people don't want to work with a realtor, but I do encourage them to have some sort of representation. Um, so I'm so sorry. What was the question? I know you've said,
Well, like, it was slightly complex. One was, again, just following up with more tips and advice, because people a lot of times don't know what they don't know. And then secondly, kind of leading into why people should work with an agent.
yeah. Agents just know, I mean, especially ones that have worked in new construction, they just know the questions to ask. They know what to look for. Um, People that, are single, they don't have anybody with them, they probably just need somebody that can help guide them. So,
Sure. And to take that a step further, yes, we buy and sell houses every day, whereas you as a consumer respectfully are only probably going to buy and sell. It has increased over the last decade, but you're probably going to average 5 to 7 home purchases in your lifetime. And it just depends on, again, which market you're in, for how much, or your age, even on how frequently. People who are younger tend to move more than people who are in different generations, accordingly. But again, I think what Laura said just now is really important. We know the questions to ask, and we are your advocate. And I think there's a misconception. Do clients save money on a build if they do not use a realtor?
oh no, it's a totally different aspect of how we consider how we do a deal. We don't include or disclude realtors. We just don't even look at that. I mean, that's just totally separate budget. It's not taken into consideration when giving somebody a price. No. If
Yes.
we did that, and if we advertised it, we wouldn't have realtors coming to us. So we don't advertise that. We don't do it.
And I'm sure ethically on some level that's I have like 3 or 4 different points in our code of ethics, and depending too with the builders association, that might not be even something that's allowed for our local market.
Right.
If you're going to be part of the builders association, you need to be able to work with realtors. But um, I want this to be really clear for people that you are not saving money if you don't work with a realtor. In fact, you are spending money for services that you're not using, because our compensation, correct me if I'm wrong, Laura, is built into the base price of the home. And
Right.
that's something that you guys will never negotiate below.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. We don't negotiate based on that at all. Yep.
Yep. So friends, if you know someone who's built without a realtor, they're paying for services they're not using, so you might as well. And again, we represent you and your best interests. Want to make sure that the things that you're picking out are good floor plans for or design selections for resale. Not every design selection is going to be maybe a good idea at the time of when you're building. Maybe you can do it cheaper later on. And we just kind of help make sure that the builder sticks to that contract. We keep you on pace and hold them accountable if something goes wrong. And I think sometimes, even though you can build a good relationship with the sales representative, again, you guys do work for the builder. Is that correct?
Yeah, we definitely, you're spot on.
Well, this has been certainly an insightful interview, Laura. Is there anything else that you would like for people to know about Miller's Walk or Beazer Homes in general?
I was just going to say we're opening up a couple other communities. One's in Westfield. It's called Bordeaux Walk. It's just north of 161st Street on the east side of Ditch. And then there's another community opening up in Southport. So Beazer is growing. And then we have several more on the horizon that are going to be opening up soon. So
excellent.
Come check us out.
And do you happen to know when either of those communities will be opening or releasing their first section?
So Bordeaux Walk is already open.
Okay.
They just opened. And then Southport, I think they have started to sell in there, but the grand opening, I'm not sure of the date. It's got to be soon though, since they've already started selling.
Excellent. Now, what is the best way for people to connect with you after this interview? And make sure you mention this interview when you connect with her so that we can make sure you get good customer service.
Yeah, so my name is Laura Keller. My phone number is 317-774-4947. And my email is laura.keller@beazer.com. So I can help you with any spec home in any Beazer community. And my community, again, is Miller's Walk in Noblesville.
Excellent. Well, Laura, thank you so much for your time and energy and valuable information today. I know all of us learned a lot.
Great.
And I hope all of you watching were able to take a lot away from this and learn some good things about Beazer Homes. And if you have any questions or would like to set up a virtual appointment with myself and Laura, you can do that at www.calendly.com/Jessica Morrison. And we can put that on the calendar. Or if you're thinking of buying or selling, my number is 317-679-3223. And certainly all of this contact information will be in, depending on where this is posted, either in the post above or in the description of this video. But again, thank you, Laura, for your time. We really appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Have a good day, everyone.